Death. When I broach this topic with people, oftentimes they ask, why are you thinking about this already? You're young and you have your entire life ahead of you. Why do you have to be so morbid? From a superficial point of view, these questions are valid. As young adults, just beginning our journey into independence, pursuing an education and preparation for long lives of careers and success, we feel a sense of immortality, and worries about our chances of dying each day simply aren't in the forefront of our minds. But maybe we should reconsider. Here's a fact that might shock you. Out of the 200 or so people in our senior class here at Pine Crest, 20 of us won't live to see age 40. This can be the result of countless reasons: heart attacks, car accidents, homicides, and even suicides. These things are bound to occur. That is simply a fact of life. But the realization that these things can happen so close to home is jarring. I've experienced this firsthand, and on several occasions, unfortunately. Having been raised in a multi-generational home, I was exposed to the reality of death at a young age. I lost my great-grandmother to a grueling bout with Alzheimer's disease. Preceding her was my grandfather, the man who fulfilled the role as the father figure for the greater proportion of my young adult life. He suffered a sudden and massive heart attack. And most recently, I lost one of my grandmothers to an unexpected and tragic suicide at the hands of violent and uncontrollable substance abuse. I expected to lose my family members at some point, but that point seemed to come much sooner than I'd imagined. I was numb and devoid of emotion when they passed away because to me, they were undying. I couldn't help but develop a sense of guilt, reflecting back and thinking that there may have been one thing I could have done to change their fate. But after mulling over these thoughts in my head to no avail, I understood that death is inevitable. It is a crucial step in the cycle of life. The way in which we process our universe around us is defined by our life experience, not by our departure. I almost felt like a philosopher once I finally grasped this connection. I learned that life can be defined in many ways, depending on who you ask. In my experience, life is living in spite of death, a kind of limbo that all of us subconsciously have to navigate through each and every day. The entire essence of human existence can be defined by one word: mortality. The widely accepted definition for this word is the state of being subject to death. In other words, mortality is living one day at a time, fully immersed and engaged in the present. A senior lecturer in psychology at Leeds Beckett University named Dr. Steve Taylor seamlessly articulates this point. He says, becoming aware of our own mortality can be a liberating and awakening experience, which can, paradoxically it might seem, encourage us to live authentically and fully for the first time. He emphasizes that both the past and the future are immaterial and irrelevant. What can be derived from this is that only through recognition of the fact that previous events in our lives are not subject to change, and that the events of the future are simply out of our grasp from where we stand today, can we completely endure an existence of liberated autonomy. The one point I hope I'm getting across is that you're never too young to think about death. Through evaluating and identifying with the conception of death, we are able to live our lives fully and completely, free of inhibition. It might not be that easy to process a shift in perspective as it relates to this question of humanity. In fact, it might seem nearly impossible until you are faced with this ultimatum head-on. If the idea of living in spite of death seems too far-fetched or philosophical, just think about it this way. Thousands of people will not have the privilege to wake up and see the sunrise tomorrow. Live your life for those who can no longer. Make effective use of your time here on Earth. Follow a path of exploration, whether it be cultural, academic, or any other sort. Live to take full advantage of the life you possess, because it is undetermined when your opportunity to seize what lies ahead of you can slip through your hands into a void of lost chance. Life is what you make of it, and the choice of how to live it is entirely your own. All I ask of you is that you please just go out on a limb and live.